Welcome, team, to episode 22 of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. This is Luke Wheat in Knoxville, Tennessee, here with my co-host, Pat O'Malley. What's going on, Pat?
Living, man, out here in Roscoe, Illinois. Another great Sunday. Weather's a little bit dreary, but we'll get through it in episode today. How's everything in Knox, Luke?
Don't tell me Roscoe, Illinois has got not the best weather in the world. Don't tell me that.
I thought they were like, I'm not going to go into it.
I thought they sold you on the 90 degrees all year round, no?
I thought it was the Bahamas when I moved here. They sold me out. So.
No, Knoxville's great, man. A little bit of rain this week, but we got a couple games in, and we're looking to move forward with the season, and I think get into playoffs. That's the team may be in a little senioritis season right now, so we're trying to get the energy back for Tuesday. We got our last region game, so a lot of emotions right now, that's for sure.
Who let these kids schedule prom during the season? Come on.
Dude, I don't know. It wasn't up to me.
That's awesome stuff, Luke. Well, they got the right guys in charge over there to make sure you guys make a nice little run. So make sure to keep us updated, okay?
No, 100%. And on another front, we've got shirts coming to y'all with Community Company. So I was able to go hang out with Matt Roberts and the people over at Community Company yesterday. Super cool event that they do. They had about 50 people out there throughout the day just supporting their own community in Athens, Tennessee and East Tennessee.
No doubt. And big things on that horizon. Obviously, follow us on social media at the KG Podcast. We just got 2,200 on Instagram. Twitter is up and running, the website, the blog, and, of course, the merch is coming now, too, spearheaded by Luke Wheat. So, Luke, ahead of time, man, thanks for that.
No, 100%. Super excited about it. I knew whenever we were kind of thinking about going into the merch field, I knew I wanted to work with Matt. He's a director at a YMCA for the youth after school program. And like that job is so important to so many kids, provides a lot of support for so many kids in his community. And he's just a great guy.
That's it, man. Community in the name, community impact. We love to see it. Speaking of that, all the way from Bulgaria last week, got to shout out Peter Arbob and his network. How'd you feel about the CrossFit Network and how'd you feel about the episode, Luke?
Get stuff done, baby. That's how I felt about the episode. It fired me up, man. Peter was on here.
No, Peter was great. And shout out Peter and his whole CrossFit Network. We love breaking into that circle. Awesome stuff. But while we are breaking into these many circles, we're not specialists, Luke.
That's right. We're not psychologists. We're not psychiatrists. Just a couple of ex-athletes trying to help out, in the stigma and bring a positive aspect to sports.
No, couldn't agree more. We got Honorarium coming on today with Dan and Steve. We'll introduce them very shortly. But before we go into that, what did you do this week for your mental health, Luke?
I just continued the tradition of trying to call a few people that I normally don't talk to on a regular basis during the week. It really helped me out last week. And just wanted to make sure if I knew it was going to help me, I want to make sure I was keeping to do that this week.
No, love that, man. Love that. Impactful conversations.
Definitely, man. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Pat, but I had to help a guy get home from France one time. So whenever I was living over in Madrid, it was my flight back. I think it was whenever I was leaving the first time around. I had been in Spain for 7 months, and I see this guy sitting over watching tennis, and I was like, he doesn't look European, so I'm just gonna go sit over there and see kind of what happens. I thought he was American, and I hadn't seen any Americans in 7 months. So, we're both watching this tennis match, and he looks at me. He's like, you know what's going on? I was like, dude, no clue. We get to talking. He had lost his wallet. He had lost his ID, lost all of his cards, and I had to get him a little lifeline to get him back to the United States, and we did. Shout out Grant Nash, man. He's a great guy, and super glad I could help him out, and we've continued that friendship over the last 6 years.
You never know who you're going to run into, huh?
Oh, 100%, man. It was crazy.
Love it. Well, keep making a great impact. Keep doing your thing there. Something I did this week, mental health-wise, really honed in on the nutritional stuff. Been comparing and contrasting a lot of stuff with my diet of late. So added some more protein, got into the egg white wave that everyone's
there you go.
Eggs because they're expensive. So now I'm going to egg whites. So I thought that was great this week. And just focusing on new ways to keep it fresh, but keep it healthy. I think sometimes people get so pigeonholed in their diet that they kind of get, sick of it, right? So that's why I'm trying to do different things and keep it fresh, but keep it consistent.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you kind of, is it all feel whenever you want to switch up the diet, switch up the game plan, or is it, what do you think?
I think it's when I talk to people. I think like anything, you just got to be a sponge. If it's a
Yeah.
podcast, if it's social media, if it's a friend or family member, teacher, whoever it may be, soaking in information. I'm a big believer in you can get something good out of anybody, and you can also learn from someone's misfortune in every conversation. So I think that's a big piece, big piece.
Yeah, 100% proud of you, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate you, bro. And hey, and I've been doing the Thankful Thursday stuff, calling some buddies, but you've taken this thing to a different level, man. Keep it going.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Well, without further ado, we got Steve and Dan coming on. Go ahead and flip those cameras on. What's going on, fellas?
How you doing, fellas?
Guys, good to be here with you.
Hey guys, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for
Always.
taking time on a Sunday.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, the Honorarium team is someone that we've been tight knit with over the last couple months when we got into the space. We love what you guys are doing. We love the message, not only for athletes, but also for organizations you guys are helping. But we'll get into all that. But before we do that, Dan, I got to ask you, what'd you do this week for your mental health?
I had to write a letter for my son, like a brag sheet for college. So he's a junior in high school, and it touched my heart to write about all the good things about him, and that really made me feel good. So
That's awesome.
A father's love is speaks volumes. That's fantastic. Where is he going to school, Dan? Has he decided on a couple?
he's probably a one applicant kid to St. Bonaventure University. So
Okay.
they have rolling admissions. Yeah, so they've got rolling admissions. So he'll get to apply, I think, in July or August, and he'll probably know if he's accepted right around when school starts. And if he gets in, I don't think he's going to do another application. He really wants to go there badly. And then also I did a Facebook update for my daughter who's at the Air Force Academy, and she's doing so many things and just so busy there that it's awesome to kind of do these quarterly updates to just let friends and family know how she's doing, and just so inspiring. She's such a great kid.
No, I think that's amazing. I think that's a positive way to use social media, a positive way to impact your community. And I love that, man. We have a college counseling department at my high school right now, and they just started to talk to the freshmen about what they should be looking for the next 4 years. And they're all wide-eyed, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed. And it's cool to see those relationships start to develop.
Cool. Steve, how about you?
That's a tough one. I went up to Berkeley to see some of my daughter's friends for senior week before they graduated. It was going to be a hell of a trip for me. So I reached out to 3 of my buddies and I said, hey, man, I got a really tough trip coming up. I don't know if I'm going to need you, but I just want to give you a heads up. I might be reaching out. And thankfully, the universe logistically made the trip really wonderful so we could go do really tough work up there. But I didn't need to call on them, but I did that. I prepared myself for the worst, and my buddies, of course, all responded anytime, right here waiting by the phone if you need it. And so that's what I did. Yeah. Thanks for
that's
Steve,
awesome.
I love that. And for 2 reasons I do. One, if you follow any of our social media, we've really made that transition of the colors of blue and yellow. And in this situation, you took your gray and you went out there and made it blue. You made it great. And not only that, but you were able to impact people, but also have people in your corner, right? Your supporting cast, your support system. I think all in all, I hope it went well. It sounds like it went well. I know it was tough, but you definitely impacted some lives. That's for sure.
No, 100%. You got to lean on your support group. It's something we harp on all the time. And I love the fact that you're vulnerable enough with your support group to let them know, hey, I don't know what this week's going to be like, but I really need you guys to be there for me. So that's awesome, dude.
Awesome. And for our listeners, early on today, run that back. Lean on your people, care about your people. Love is the best thing that we do. I say it like every episode, but awesome. Appreciate you guys. Well, let's go into this. So we always let our guests kind of intro. So I'm going to start with Dan. Tell me how you got into the space. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I became good friends with my co-founder, Katie Malik, back in 2015. So I'm a graduate of the University of Notre Dame. That's how Steve and I know one another. We were college roommates.
Go Irish.
Yeah, go Irish. And, I met Katie back in 2015 when she was getting her MBA from Notre Dame, and she, I live now in Rochester, which is where my wife grew up, and she grew up. Katie grew up the next town over from where I live, and when she was pursuing her MBA, someone at Notre Dame Idea Center, which is kind of an entrepreneurial hub there, put her in touch with me, and we started chatting about an idea she had for business. And fast forward several years, she would probably reach out to me about once a quarter or so. She's very entrepreneurial. She always kind of had new ideas she was working on, and I think I talked her down off of some ideas that I didn't think she should pursue, and she wound up getting an awesome job at FanDuel and being responsible for the rollout of their sports books across the country, and had a really good job. And she hit me up a year ago, December, and she just had this. She's a St. Bonaventure undergrad, and she was on the on their board there, and she was very concerned about what was happening with NIL. And for their program and all that stuff. And then she had a professional interest at FanDuel and following it. And she was watching a Bonnie's game, and a kid hit a 3-pointer that turned the tide of the game. And they went on to win. And she just got struck with this notion that she wanted to help support that kid in some way. And she realized that she could do that now with new NIL rules. And she kind of shared this idea with me, and I said, that's an amazing idea. There's a whole bunch of college athletes that could use the support, and there's a ton of college sports fans. And she pitched the idea to me of building a mobile payment platform to follow and engage with your favorite athletes, and be able to provide them with some monetary support in exchange for content that they put on the platform. And I said, you should quit your job and you should pursue that. And I think it's an awesome idea. And she asked me if I'd do it with her, and I said, yeah. And that was it. We wound up incorporating in May of last year, and we brought forward an MVP, a minimal viable product, which is kind of like the lowest common denominator of software when you launch. And we've been we did that right after Christmas, right around New Year's. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. So we're adding new features and functionality, and bringing on a whole bunch of athletes. And we've done some interesting things with a few charities that we can talk about in a little bit. But that's how we came to be.
Awesome. And Dan, I got to ask you, being a serial entrepreneur, bouncing around, doing your thing for how many years, what is your mission statement? What is your end goal? Why do you do this every day now? Why are you so passionate about Honorarium?
Yeah, I started out passionate about finance. I studied finance at Notre Dame. I was blessed to be in the hedge fund business for a number of years, and really enjoyed some success in that area. And it wound up being there was a hedge fund in Boston I was running at the time, and we needed to produce. We needed a system to better manage our research process, and I tried to buy a software platform in the marketplace that would do that, and it didn't exist. So I wound up hiring a bunch of engineers and building something from nothing. And other friends of mine in the investment world saw what we had built for our internal use and asked if they could buy subscriptions. And I got bit by the entrepreneurship bug, and we spun that out and created a separate software company. And I really fell in love with the creative process of building something from nothing that served a need in the marketplace. And fast forward over 20 years, I guess, and I've had 3 exits, and this is the 6th company that I'm working on. So I really just fell in love with identifying a problem and finding a solution to that problem. But when I was an investor, when I was investing in companies, they were mostly technology companies. So I'm not a technologist. I don't code. But I'm very familiar with technology and how technology works. And what I try to do is identify a solution. In this case, Katie identified the solution, but try to build a team of smart people to help solve a problem. So that's really what it is. And you build a company, and then it grows to a point in which someone offers you some money to buy it, and you sell it, and then you just want to do it over again and just solve another problem. And that's kind of how my career's been.
I got you.
Being there,
and hey, that's what you see with NIL, right? It's trying to take that marketplace and distribute a little bit more of the wealth to the actual players and the people putting the product on the field. And I really like the fact that you guys are making it an equitable place for the players.
No doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I want, and Katie gets all the credit for this. I think it's 68% of the NIL dollars are going to football players and men's basketball players. So you've got just, about a third of the market that every other athlete, Olympic sports, non-revenue generating sports, women's sports, they're all fighting over a very small piece of the pie. So one of the things that I think makes us special is that when an athlete receives an honor on our platform or a financial pledge, 75% of those dollars go to the athlete, and then we take 5% of those dollars and share them amongst all that athlete's teammates who are on our platform, and the other 5% gets micro-shared to every other athlete at that school that's on our platform. So,
Okay, cool.
the big time players are still going to make the most money, but at least this gives everyone else an opportunity to get a little bit of that NIL love.
No doubt. Dan. No doubt. I appreciate you walking through the numbers piece of it, because I didn't know that, which is good for our listeners.
Yeah,
Steve,
100%.
Steve, tell me this. So obviously you have your own story. So I want to hear about your Notre Dame story and then how you fit in with Honorarium.
Well, Dan and I are part of a band of brothers. We were all college roommates our senior year, and us idiots, stayed together through parenthood and families and business wins and business losses. And so we still get together. And this year's get together was at a football game I hadn't intended to go to. It was Cal was playing Notre Dame, and it was important because I lost my stepdaughter in 2020 to suicide. She was a Cal, amongst many other great things. She was a Cal goalie, field hockey goalie, and so I just thought that game was going to be a little too tough for me, especially seeing my buddies and their kids there at the game my kid should have been at, making me wear Cal gear at my own home game. And I went because these guys, Dan and the rest of my roommates said, "Come on, man, we're gonna take good care of you." And they did, man. They loved on me at the tailgate when they saw me crying and under my sunglasses. And Dan and I were walking to the game, and he's telling me about Honorarium, and I was like mind blown again by another one of his platforms. The idea of democratizing NIL was just like, man. And he said, I don't know how to ask you this, but I'm focused on cancer because of his own family's issues. And he goes, I really want to do something for mental health and the mental health of athletes, and I don't know where to start. And I said, man, you got to reach out to Morgan's Message, man. They're really doing it. My family and my wife and I, we're still coming out of the cloud, but Morgan's mom, she's been running with this thing, and man, the work they're doing is incredible. And I just knew that I trusted Dan with my heart. I trust what Morgan's Message is doing, and I tried to bring those two things together, because what Dan's doing on his platform is not just democratizing NIL, but trying to empower these kids to take the steering wheel on their mental health, but also to practice some charity and eventually be able to participate in pushing some of their earnings out to some of the groups that are important to Honorarium. And I think, Dan, you said it, like, I can build whatever I want. And if I can build whatever I want with Katie, then I can build this thing that eventually supports cancer and mental health, the things that live in our hearts. And so more recently, Dan's formalized and asked me to help Honorarium with mental health issues. And I'm honored by it, but I'm just a dad. I'm not an expert. I'm not even an athlete.
No, man, that's somebody's got to do it, though. Somebody's got to do it.
And so that's my role. I'm a dad of an athlete, helping Honorarium and Dan and his group understand how I think this one thing is what my message is, and that is that Zoe was injured her senior year, and when she raised her hand, well, she didn't raise her hand, she was limping. She got her knee injured, and we all surrounded her, coaches, players, parents, it took her to the best doctors. She fought back out of that injury. She wound up going to Berkeley and getting a smaller injury freshman, like first practice, boom, out of play. And, she got surrounded by stuff there. And I think if we start thinking about this as an injury, a sports injury, and you're playing injured, it's going to catch up to you. If you raise your hand and say, I got an injury and I need some help, people will come around you. these kids are playing with these mental health injuries, and they don't have to. And I think that's why I was excited to help Dan out. But when Dan asked me to join the podcast, I was like, heck yeah, man, let's get that out there, So anyway, that's my short.
100%. And we're trying to work with companies that offer, mental health counseling, mental health therapy to athletes that target specific issues that come from sports, because sports are supposed to be a place where you can unwind. I was talking to a guy yesterday at the community event, right? He didn't grow up with a father, right? He was a single mom household. He said his 2 hours on the field were his escape from all his issues. And that's what sports should be. They shouldn't be something that adds stress to your life. They should be something that adds to your life. Go ahead, Pat.
Luke, I couldn't agree more. And Steve, first and foremost, thank you for sharing today. I know it's so powerful for our listeners. And I'm just blown away by your strength and your ability to talk about this. So thank you for doing that. The second thing is, I loved your point about the physical injuries and the mental injuries. And if our listeners are tuning in today, there is no difference. There is no difference, truthfully. So if you feel like something's not right, talk to someone. Talk to a coach, talk to a teacher, talk to a friend, a family member, because it could be the difference for you, and it could be the difference for that person or the next group of people. Have that conversation. Steve, I thought that was extremely powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. That's a powerful story. And right, Pat, you got to talk to people. If you play with a small physical injury, that compounds into a larger physical injury. Same thing with mental health, right? We got to get you right before we can get you back onto the field.
Couldn't agree more. And just ending that stigma, making this a conversation that can be had and confidently can be had. Doesn't mean that you're weak. Doesn't mean that you're messed up. It means that you're like everybody else that's going through things like this. So awesome. Well, I kind of want to stay there. We already talked about Morgan's message, and I couldn't speak more highly of the butterfly with the wings on it. I really couldn't. I love what they do. They're so supportive of us, and they didn't have to be. We've been in the space for a couple months, and they've welcomed us, with open arms. So tell me, we'll go to Dan. Dan, tell me about your work with Morgan's message, and how does that fit into what you guys are looking to do?
Yeah, so thank you for that. So I want to reiterate what Steve said. Donna and Gary are just amazing people, and I was so touched by their story. And quite frankly, I knew all about Zoe's story and Zoe's situation because Steve and I are so close. But I really, felt bad for Steve and his family, but never really looked beyond that, right? And I wasn't aware of who Morgan's message was. I didn't know Morgan's story. And when Steve and I were at the football game, I asked him, I said, look, I want to create a feature in our platform that will allow student athletes to share some percentage of their own discretion with organizations that can help support mental health awareness. And I don't know where to begin. And so that was kind of what Steve said, first words out of his mouth, Morgan's message, awesome people, etc. So I'll just kind of walk through that a little bit. I'm this outside business guy. They don't know me. They don't know my intentions. They don't know if I'm trying to get an angle or something or take advantage of, people that are struggling. And Steve kind of made that introduction, and they were willing to have the conversation because they trusted Steve, right? And then, I had some wonderful conversations with both Donna and Gary, and I said, look, this is where we're coming from. I've been made aware of the work you're doing through my friend Steve, and all we want to do is help. Like, we know that young people are very philanthropic, but largely broke. And we're building a platform that's hopefully going to put a few dollars in their pocket. And if they choose to do good things with those dollars, we want to support that wholeheartedly. And so, we're a startup, so you got to crawl before you walk, before you run. And ideally, it would be wonderful for any student athlete to share a percentage of their NIL earnings with any nonprofit they want to, but there's a lot of technology that has to be built on the back end to support that. So we said, we're going to start with a small number of nonprofits that, quite frankly, support the things that are important to me, right? And important to Katie and important to Steve. And so, we met with Morgan's Message, and they took a leap of faith with us, and they said, hey, we're going to kind of lend our logo to you guys, and we're going to kind of work with you, and we hope you can raise some money. They actually didn't say that. Gary actually said to me, Dan, we're not in this for the money. And I so respected that whole point. And I said, look, I don't want to give you the impression we're doing this for money. I understand if we can put more money in the pockets of Morgan's Message, there's going to be more resources to get the word out and help more kids, right?
Yeah.
And then through that, so that went, those conversations went well, and I think I earned their trust, and they certainly earned my respect. And so they agreed to move forward with a memorandum of understanding, and then in my due diligence with that organization, we came across the Hidden Opponent. And they also are doing some amazing work.
Shout out to Hidden Opponent. Shout out to Hidden Opponent.
Yeah, great group right there.
Yep, Victoria and Leanne are doing awesome work there, and I kind of just cold reached out to them and just said, hey, I'm just a guy doing a startup here, and this is what we're looking to do, and same situation. Got on the phone with them, explained to them what we're doing, and saying, look, we're trying to help student athletes put a few dollars in their pocket, but if we can do something good in the interim and give them a platform to be able to share with organizations that are meaningful to them, then we want to try to help do that. So again, I over time, I hope to be able to raise more awareness for these organizations. I think what's going to happen is the students that are already supporting them, that find our platform, hopefully will join our platform and start getting paid a little bit, and then choose to share with them. But the dream over time is to get tens of thousands of athletes on our platform, and really then be able to promote these nonprofits and get more people interested in supporting them and getting their message out. And I've just been just a huge fan of how fast they've grown, and it's a sad thing that they're growing as fast because there's such a need, but I'm so proud to watch them touch the hearts of all these student athletes, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it, and I just love Steve and love Zoe and the whole family, and I'm just happy that we can do this together.
Dan, thanks for walking through that. Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, and I hate to say, most used word this episode is going to be community, because I think we're running on 10 or 20 of that right now. But when you look at what sports does for a community, right? Look at what they do for the community when they win, when they lose, when they draw, anything like that. That's where you're going to see the impact, I feel like, the most for these athletes. If you get a guy at Rutgers, right, and the community is going to the football games, they're going to the baseball games, and they can see how good of a guy that guy is. They can see how good of a girl that girl is, how much they support their teammates, how well they play their heart out on the field, right? That community is going to want to support that person. So it may not be the whole nation coming together for, a D3 over here at Maryville College, but you're getting 200 people at a game, and if they're on the platform and they could get $1 a person, that's $200 in their pocket. They get some food, they get some anything, they get some gas money for the week. It helps college athletics so much.
I couldn't agree more. One thing I'll say is, when we were putting the business plan together for Honorarium, we just took a guess because we didn't have any data, and we thought that unlike we're not what we're not, right, is we're not a big NIL company trying to get the quarterback from Ohio State in a Nike deal or a Gatorade deal. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're for every athlete. And what we're trying to do is really engage the athletes with the fans, right? There's 182 million college sports fans in this country, and there's 500,000 college athletes, right? And almost every college athlete is on social media. Lots of them are on social media, and they get likes and they get hearts, and we can kind of turn that into dollars for these young people. And when we were putting our model together, we said, okay, I think the median college athlete probably has 1,000 social media followers, right? And now that we've gotten, a number of athletes on our platform, it's actually over 1,800. So if you just think about, like, if they can get 10% of their social media followers to follow them on Honorarium, and then post videos and photos and kind of just let the people that already love them, see what they're doing, and then kind of open the opportunity for them to your point, give them $1, $5, $10, what have you. It will help them with books. And the other thing, all of your listeners know this because they're athletes, I think, or most of them probably are athletes, but I think there's this notion that student athletes just get these, full ride deals, right? And it's such a small minority of students
Yeah.
that get these full rides, and most kids are splitting. My daughter's a distance runner, and I think they get 18 track and field splits, 18 scholarships between indoor track, outdoor track, and cross country. So if these kids are on scholarship, if you're a cross country kid, you're getting very, very few dollars. And this just allows these young people to, help them with books or be able to go to the movies, even full scholarship athletes, right? A lot of these kids come from poor families. And if you have all your stuff paid for, you still can't go to the movies or go to dinner with your teammates or your friends that might not be on the team, and you're kind of stuck on campus. So we just wanted to put a little bit of few dollars in their pocket and give them that opportunity. But this is good for every student athlete, whether you're D1, D2, D3, NAIA, NCAA. This is really built for everyone.
We preach D3 for the love of the game. We preach that.
Yeah.
And I want to be conscious of these fellas' time. They took time out of their Sunday. But if you guys wouldn't mind, and we can talk about the X's and O's after today, we want to sponsor an athlete on behalf of the Keep Going podcast. We'd love it to be someone from Berkeley, preferably. Steve, we'll get connected. If you'd be cool with that, we could promote them, shine them on our platform.
Kennedy Thomas, number 9, softball catcher. Awesome kid. She's right here for us, man. We love her. We love all the kids up there. We just met with Cato and Megan and some other folks on the field hockey team, and those girls are killing it. But KT, number 9.
Hey, we'll get it done, baby. We'll get it.
We got to get her on the platform. I don't know if she's on the platform, but we'll have Steve talk to her.
I haven't caught you up yet. We had a long talk this weekend. She's
oh, good.
We'll get KT fired up.
Okay, excellent. The other thing too is fans can support an entire team, and it's only the athletes from that team who sign up, right? But if we have 10 kids on a team and someone gives $50, they all get $5 split evenly. So it's however you want to do it, whether it's a team or an individual athlete, you can support either way.
Awesome.
Nice.
Appreciate the information, Dan and Steve. If you wouldn't mind following up with that athlete's information,
Absolutely.
We'd love a huge shining light moment to that athlete, and we'll do some things. We look forward to building this relationship. But before I wrap up today, we do ask all of our guests their keep going moment. And if you've listened to any episodes, often we look at people and we see them where they're currently at, but we don't see where they started, what they went through. You guys might have talked about your keep going moment already, but I'm going to ask both of you. Steve, let's start with you. Give me your keep going moment.
I'll give you a keep going moment. I want to first just say that the sports injury I was talking about takes many forms, right? And it could go all the way to like blowing out your ACL, but it could be a sprained ankle, right? You feel a little emotional pain and you're not sure what to do with it. That's still something you got to take a look at or take care of yourself around. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
My keep going moment, man. I don't know if I'm a little raw. Let me come back to it. Let me think on it. Let Dan say something because I'm a little raw with the visit.
We got you. We got you for sure.
Give a moment.
I would say Steve has known me for a long, long time. And I grew up in a very, very blue collar family. My dad fixed train tracks and my mom was a hairdresser, and they couldn't afford college. And I wound up paying my own way through. And Notre Dame is not a cheap place to go to school. And I wound up living with Steve and 5 other guys in a house. We paid, I think it was $1,200 a month, right? It was $200 each, and that included utilities. My mom called it the crack house. It was not the best, not the best living conditions, but it's what we did to kind of, to get by. And what's a lot of people don't know about me is I almost couldn't return for my senior year. I didn't have the money. Notre Dame was not particularly generous with the financial aid back then. And I thought that I was going to have to take a year off from school and and get a job to save more money up to come back to finish my senior year. And I was the last guy that moved into the house, Steve, if you remember, senior year. They'd already painted everything and whatnot because I wasn't sure I was returning. And it literally came down to the last week, and I got a private loan, and I was able to go to school. And the seniors, the athletes at Notre Dame register for classes first, and then it's the seniors all the way down to the freshmen. I registered for my classes senior year after the freshmen, and I got the worst pick of all the classes. And I would just say, I was ready to kind of, pack it up and just say, this is too hard. And I just kept going, and through, just through the luck of God, got a loan and graduated with a lot of student debt, but it all worked out. So I would say my keep going moment was when I thought I wouldn't be able to finish school, and I found a way to get it done.
Bingo. We love it. We love it.
That's awesome, man.
Steve,
It's absolutely. And I'm outnumbered here. 3-1 Notre Dame fighting Irish to Vols right here.
Yeah, my keep going moment is I guess what happened this morning. You just wake up and you just keep going. Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's that simple.
It's not as inspirational. Dan, I know Dan's story. That's great. And I remember during that year the Vols came on campus, and man, you guys showed up. I mean, it was a sea of orange around.
Yes, that's right, baby. Vols travel deep.
So, those college keep going moments resonate with me, and Dan hates to hear it, but he's my hero in many ways in some of the things he's done. But yeah, I think just getting up, I knew what a tough morning it was for my wife and I. And I made her eggs the way she likes them, and we're just gonna keep going today. And
yes.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna
go.
No,
I think you gotta win the little battles.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes it's not about the big battles. Sometimes it's about the little ones. Can you get up? Can you eat a little bit of breakfast? Can you get outside to take a walk? Can you do those little things that will snowball into big positive changes, into big positive moments in your life? So those can be just as impactful, man.
That's where I'm at today.
I'm going to tell you this, Luke, when we have the season 2 intro made, if you guys have listened to an episode, shout out David Kamisic. He put together an intro for our podcast, and is fantastic. And it features a lot of our guests. And I'm going to comment that we need Steve yelling, keep going into the mic in our second.
That's
intro.
Right.
That was awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, as always, we love what you guys are doing. We love the message behind it. If we can ever help with anything, let us know. Anything else you want to let our listeners know before you guys get out of here?
Just keep going,
That's right.
Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And to Steve's point, if you're hurting, let someone know, because there are people that love you out there.
Amen. Yeah. And Steve, anything for us?
I just love what you guys are doing. I love what Dan's doing. I'm glad you guys were able to connect, and that I was able to support you guys in this. My heart swells for all three of you, man. Thank you all.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you. And we appreciate the vulnerability, man.
No, truly, we appreciate it. You got a friend with us over at KG, and please follow up with that athlete's information. We love the spotlighter, and you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
What do you got, Luke? That was powerful.
That's the heartstrings right there. That's just pulling on the heartstrings, buddy. That was insane.
Well, I need you to bring it.
I know. I got to compose a second. Hey, man. But CNC and BNC, we appreciate y'all at Homegrown Design and Apparel for sponsoring this podcast for as long as you have. CNC is an impactful person, and that small business makes a big impact in their community and really fires people up for those two. And it's just a great family. Man, they're awesome people. So we appreciate Homegrown Design and Apparel.
Homegrown Design and Apparel. Look out for their Etsy and social media in our bio today. Luke, without further ado, let's go into the social media shout out and good old
Woo! Hey, buddy. We're going to shout out Drew Beam this week, number 32 for the Volunteers, Tennessee Volunteers down here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know if he does this every week, but he wears a purple glove and he wears purple cleats. And what that signifies for him is his little sister. His sister was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy whenever she was born. And so she struggles. She struggles on the daily to get around, and she has to have a lot of people help her out. But she has a really strong knit group, including her brother. And yeah, he wears that purple glove and purple cleats to support her cause and finding a cure for spinal muscular atrophy. And he actually gave his cleats, his game cleats, to his sister last week whenever they finished out a win against Vandy.
How cool was that, man?
Dude, it's super powerful. Like that personal connection to a disease. Obviously, it means a lot to Drew, and it means a lot to his sister. And he can take that onto the field every time and let that inspire him to be the best that he can be, to do the best for his sister that he can do. So that's amazing.
Drew, thanks for doing that. I think that was a powerful video. I know right when I saw it, I sent over to Luke and I was blown away. So thank you for that. Shout out the whole Tennessee Volunteers baseball team. Good luck with Omaha coming across the horizon.
That's right.
I want to go on next is I want to go into our charity shout out of the week. And this was a no-brainer. So I have to shout out 13-year-old. Let's run that back.
Yeah.
13-year-old Harold Teller. What a story. So it's Hoops for Hope. It was a basketball tournament that raised money for awareness for teen suicide prevention. First and foremost, at 13 years old, Luke, I didn't even know charities really existed. Let's just put that out there first thing.
All I was worried about was soccer, buddy.
Exactly. And then you see a story like this where I actually got connected through MTSA. We actually reached out to the family. Harold Teller and his school and his community raised, I'll give you the number. Let me pull up the number. So this is all for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. $3,500 on last check for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Shout out to the Tellers. Shout out to everyone involved with that. I'm wearing the wristband right now for that organization. Love what they do. Love that. Big fan, Harold. Big fan. Luke, anything there?
Oh, and it's a great way to couple kind of the theme for the episode today, right? No matter how big or small the problem seems, you need to talk to somebody. So that was the theme of the episode for me today.
Yep. Don't man up, stand up.
That's right.
That's it. I love it. And Luke, we got one more. We're going to chop into the Luke Wheat's mental health mailbag. So I do have the question for you. So I'm going to go ahead and hit you with that. The question this week from our listeners, how can I reframe the situation and find more balanced perspectives?
No, I think you have to keep the overall goal of something in mind, and we'll keep it kind of in the sports realm so that we can try and keep it as applicable to the athletes listening as possible, right? Say, you lose a game 3-0, something like that. I'm thinking soccer here personally. Let's say you lose a game 3-0. There wasn't a ton of positives on the field. You were kind of disconnected as a team. You were this, you were that, all these different little problems that add up to a loss. Hey, man, you just got to reframe your mindset into ask yourself this. What's one person I can go tell good job for what they did today? What's one moment in the game where we did something good that I can point out to try and switch the momentum from a negative feeling into a positive feeling? You got to look to hit the brakes on the negative just so you can get that momentum going back for the positive.
Could not agree more, Luca. That is a fantastic answer. It's understanding that we touch on it every week. These are not cookie cutter situations, but you're not going to know what works and doesn't work without having that perspective, reaching out to your people, putting resources in place like the podcast you're listening to. I think it's a fantastic answer and a fantastic way to wrap up this week's episode. Luke, anything else for today?
Hey, be looking out for this photo shoot. Matt had me out there modeling the t-shirt yesterday. He got in a shot or two with me. I tell you what, I got respect for models now because they should just be normal. And I felt like I froze up like a skeleton as soon as they said that. So, man, it's just I'm super fired up on the product that community is going to be putting out. And thanks to Matt and to community for helping out with this.
Couldn't agree more, Luke. I couldn't agree more. And I can't wait for the drop. Can't wait to meet Matt and his group in person. And above all else, brother, keep going.
Keep going.
Sir.